I'm Rebecca Martinez, 28 years old. 3 weeks ago, I woke up in a hospital bed with a fractured collarbone, 3 broken ribs, and a concussion so severe the doctors were worried about brain bleeding. My daughter Sofia was 6 weeks old, and my mother was on a cruise ship somewhere off the coast of Cancún. The accident happened on Route 287 just outside Fort Worth. A truck ran a red light at the intersection near the target. I don't remember the impact. I remember Sofia crying in her car seat. I remember the airbag smell. I remember a paramedic cutting my seatbelt and telling me to stay still. They took me to Harris Methodist Hospital. Sofia went with me in the ambulance. She wasn't hurt. Not a scratch. The car seat did its job. I did my job. I kept her safe, but I couldn't hold her. My right collarbone was fractured in 2 places. My ribs made it impossible to breathe deeply without pain. The concussion meant I couldn't be alone with her for at least 72 hours. Doctor's orders. I called my mother from the ER. She answered on the 3rd ring. I could hear music in the background. Latin music. Loud. Mom, I said. I was in a car accident. I'm at Harris Methodist. I need you to come get Sofia. Silence. Then, Rebecca, I'm at the airport. What? I'm boarding in 20 minutes. The cruise leaves from Galveston tonight. I told you about this 2 months ago. I had forgotten. I had a 6-week-old baby. I forgot a lot of things. Mom, I'm in the hospital. I have a concussion. They won't let me take Sofia home alone. I need help. Can't David do it? David, my ex-boyfriend, Sofia's father. The man who told me he wasn't ready to be a dad and moved to Phoenix 4 months before she was born. David's not here, Mom. You know that. Well, I don't know what to tell you, honey. I have cruise tickets. I can't just rearrange my entire trip for this. For a car accident. For her granddaughter. I closed my eyes. The fluorescent lights were making my head pound. I said, I'm sure you'll figure something out. You always do. Call your sister. She hung up. Called my sister. Lauren answered immediately. Hey, what's up? I was in a car accident. I'm at Harris Methodist. Can you take Sofia for a couple days? Oh my God, are you okay? Fractured collarbone, broken ribs, concussion. I'm fine, but I can't be alone with the baby. Can you help? Pause. Becca, I can't. Marcus has that work thing this weekend. We're leaving for Austin in the morning. Marcus, her fiancé, corporate lawyer at Haynes & Boone. I'd heard about him roughly 400 times. It's just for 2 or 3 days, Lauren. Please. I can't just cancel our plans. This is important for Marcus's career. I'm in the hospital, and I'm sorry, but you know how it is. Your sister never has these emergencies. Your sister. She was talking about herself in 3rd person. Right? I said, okay. Mom's on her cruise, right? Can she help when she gets back? Sure, I said. Thanks anyway. I hung up. I sat there in the ER bed holding my phone. Sofia was in a bassinet next to me asleep. He was perfect. Tiny hands curled into fists. Dark hair like mine. She had no idea that no one wanted to help us. A nurse came in. Her name tag said Diane. How are we doing? She asked. I need to make some calls, I said. I need to find someone to help with my daughter. Diane looked at Sofia, then at me, then at the monitor showing my vitals. You don't have family nearby? They're busy. He understood. I could see it in her face. She'd seen this before. Let me see what I can do, she said. 20 minutes later, she came back with a social worker named Marianne Chen. Marianne sat down next to my bed and pulled out a tablet. Diane told me you need temporary childcare assistance while you recover, Marianne said. I can connect you with some services. Do you have insurance? Yes. Good. Let me make some calls. She left. Came back an hour later with a list of names. Home health nurses, postpartum doulas, people who could come to my apartment and help for the next few days. I picked one. Her name was Grace. She was $45 an hour. I did the math in my head. 72 hours minimum. Round-the-clock help. That was $3,240. I had $4,100 in my checking account. I said yes. Grace arrived at my apartment the next afternoon. She was in her 50s, calm, competent. She took Sofia from the hospital transport worker and smiled at me. You rest, she said. I've got her. I went to bed. For 3 days, Grace took care of Sofia while I healed. He changed diapers, gave bottles, did laundry, brought me water and Tylenol. She didn't ask about my family. She didn't judge. She just helped. On the 4th day, my phone rang. It was my mother. Hi, honey. I'm back. The cruise was amazing. You would have loved it. I said nothing. How are you feeling? Better. Good. So listen, I was thinking maybe I could come by this weekend and see Sofia. I got her the cutest little dress in Cozumel. I'm busy this weekend, I said. Oh. Well, next week then. Maybe. Silence. Are you upset with me, Rebecca? I was in a car accident, Mom. You chose a cruise. That's not fair. I had already paid for that trip. Non-refundable. You can't expect me to just throw away $2,800 because you had an accident. $2,800. I had just spent $3,240 on a nurse because my mother wouldn't help. Right, I said. I have to go. I hung up. I didn't hear from her again for 2 weeks. But I did hear from my grandfather. His name was Vincent Martinez. He was 81 years old. Retired city planner. Widowed for 6 years. He lived in a small house in Arlington, 20 minutes from me. He called on a Thursday afternoon. Rebecca, it's Grandpa. Hi, Grandpa. I heard about your accident. I paused. Who told you? Your Aunt Claudia. She ran into Diane at church. Diane mentioned she'd helped a young mother at the hospital. Claudia put it together. Of course she did. Fort Worth was a small world when you needed it to be. I'm okay, I said. Sofia's okay. I heard your mother was on a cruise. Yeah. Silence. Then, I'm coming over. He hung up before I could argue. He arrived an hour later, knocked twice, then let himself in with the key I'd given him months ago. He was wearing his usual khaki pants, a blue button-down shirt, a baseball cap from the Fort Worth stockyards. He looked at me, then at Sofia asleep in her swing. You look terrible, he said. Thanks, Grandpa. How are the ribs? Healing. Hurts to breathe sometimes. He nodded, sat down in the armchair across from me. Your mother called me yesterday, he said. I waited. She wanted to know if I'd talk to you. I said no. She said you were upset with her. Asked why. She said you were being unreasonable about the cruise. I laughed. It hurt. She said she had already paid for it. I said, non-refundable. Grandpa's jaw tightened. He had the same jaw as my mother. Strong, stubborn. I paid for that cruise, he said quietly. I stared at him. What? I've been paying for her vacations for 9 years. Ever since your father left. $4,500 a month. Sometimes more. I told her it was to help with expenses after the divorce. She used it for trips. $4,500 a month. For 9 years. I did the math automatically. $4,500 times 12. Times 9. $486,000. Grandpa. I didn't mind, he said. She's my daughter. I wanted to help. But I draw the line at this. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out an envelope. Plain white. Nothing written on it. I went to see her this morning, he said. Before I came here. You did. I walked into her house. She was showing Lauren photos from the cruise. They were laughing. He set the envelope on the coffee table between us. I handed her this. I didn't say a word. I just handed it to her and walked out. What is it? A letter from my estate attorney. As of this morning, your mother is no longer the primary beneficiary of my estate. You are. I couldn't breathe. Grandpa, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I raised her better than this, Rebecca. She had a choice. She chose a cruise over her daughter, over her granddaughter. That tells me everything I need to know. He stood up. You're a good mother, he said. You handled everything on your own. You didn't beg. You didn't fall apart. You found a solution and you paid for it yourself. That's strength. He walked over to Sofia's swing, looked down at her. She's lucky to have you. I started crying. Not sobbing, just quiet tears running down my face. Grandpa kissed the top of my head. Call me if you need anything, he said. Then he left. 10 minutes later my phone exploded. What the hell did you say to him? Call me right now. This is unbelievable. Lauren. Mom is losing it. What happened? You turned him against me. After everything I've done for you. I turned my phone off. I sat there in the quiet apartment holding Sofia. She was awake now, looking up at me with those dark eyes. It's just us, baby, I whispered. But that's okay. We're okay. And we were. 3 days later, my mother showed up at my apartment. She didn't knock. She used the emergency key I'd forgotten she had. I was sitting on the couch, feeding Sofia. My ribs still hurt, but the concussion had cleared. I could function. We need to talk, Mom said. She looked terrible. Hair unbrushed. No makeup. She'd been crying. About what? I asked. About what you did. What I did. You turned Grandpa against me. You made him think I'm a terrible mother. I didn't say anything to him, Mom. He figured it out himself. Bullshit. You told him I abandoned you. You did abandon me. She flinched. I had already paid for that cruise. I know. Grandpa paid for it. He's been paying for your trips for 9 years. Her face went white. He told you that? Yes. That was private. Between me and him. He also told me he's changing his will. I'm the primary beneficiary now. She sat down. Hard. Like her legs gave out. Rebecca, you have to fix this. Fix what? Talk to him. Tell him you're fine. Tell him it was all a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, Mom. I called you from the hospital. You chose a cruise. I didn't choose a cruise over you. Yes, you did. You said, I can't rearrange my entire trip for this. Those were your exact words. He was crying now. Real tears. You don't understand. I needed that trip. After everything with your father, I needed to feel like my life wasn't falling apart. And I needed my mother. Silence. Sofia finished her bottle. I burped her, set her down in the swing. Is there anything you can do? Mom asked quietly. About what? About the will. Can you talk to him? Can you tell him to change it back? I looked at her. This was the moment. The moment where she could apologize. The moment where she could say, I'm sorry. I should have been there. I was wrong. Instead, she was asking me to fix it. To make it easier for her. To prioritize her feelings over my own. No, I said. Rebecca. You didn't ask how I'm feeling. You didn't ask about Sofia. You didn't apologize. You walked in here and asked me to fix the consequences of your own choices. I just want things to go back to normal. This is normal, Mom. This is what happens when you choose yourself over your daughter. Over and over again. She stood up. Grabbed her purse. Fine. When you're ready to be reasonable, call me. She left. I sat there in the silence. Sofia looked up at me from her swing. That was your grandma, I said softly. But you don't need to worry about her. And I meant it. 2 weeks later, my husband came home. No, I wasn't married during the accident. But I am now. His name is Michael Chin. He's a physical therapist at Texas Health Resources. We met when I brought Sofia in for her 2-month checkup, and he was covering the pediatric wing. He saw me struggling to get the stroller through the door with one arm still weak from the collarbone fracture. He held the door open. Asked if I needed help. I said no. He smiled and said, I'm going to help anyway. We talked for 20 minutes in the lobby. He didn't ask about Sofia's father. He didn't ask why I was alone. He just talked to me like I was a person. Not a single mom. Not a statistic. Just a person. He asked me to coffee. I said yes. We got married 4 months later at the courthouse. Grandpa was our witness. Marianne Chin, the social worker from the hospital, came too. So did Diane, the nurse. My mother wasn't invited. She sent a text the day before the wedding. I heard you're getting married. I'd like to be there. I replied, when you're ready to apologize without asking for anything, you know how to reach me. She didn't respond. Lauren called instead. You're really not going to invite Mom to your wedding? No. Becca, she's your mother. And I was her daughter. In a hospital bed. With a newborn. And she chose a cruise. She made a mistake. She made a choice. Silence. You're being cruel, Lauren said. No. I'm being clear. I hung up. The wedding was small. Just Michael and me, Grandpa, Marianne, Diane, and Sofia. We went to Sunny Brian's smokehouse afterward and ate brisket. Sofia slept through the whole thing. It was perfect. 6 months later, Grandpa had a stroke. Not a severe one. He recovered. But it was a warning. He called me from his hospital room at Arlington Memorial. I updated my will again, he said. Grandpa, you don't have to. I want to. Everything goes to you and Sofia. The house. The savings. The life insurance. I set up a trust for Sofia's education. $150,000. She'll never have to worry about college. I cried. You've done so much already. I'm doing what a parent should do. I'm showing up. He paused. Your mother called me yesterday. What did she say? She asked if we could talk. I said no. Grandpa. Rebecca, I don't forgive people who hurt my family. You're my family. Sofia's my family. Your mother made her choice. I made mine. He got out of the hospital 3 days later. I visited him every Sunday after that. Michael would make breakfast. We'd bring it to Grandpa's house. Sit in his kitchen. Talk about nothing. Sofia started calling him Pops. He cried the first time she said it. 1 year after the accident, my mother sent a letter. Not a text. Not a call. A letter. It arrived on a Tuesday. Handwritten. 3 pages. I almost threw it away. But I opened it. Rebecca, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I made the wrong choice. I replay that phone call every single day. I hear your voice asking for help and I hear myself saying no. I was selfish. I was angry about my own life, and I took it out on you by refusing to be inconvenienced. I told myself the cruise was important, that I deserved it, that you would be fine because you're always fine. But that's not love. That's not what a mother does. I see pictures of Sofia on Facebook. Lauren shows me sometimes. She's beautiful. She looks like you. I would like to meet her. Not as her grandmother. I know I haven't earned that. Just as someone who loves her mother and wants to do better. I'm not asking you to fix this. I know I have to fix it. I'm just asking for a chance. I love you. I read it 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer. I didn't respond. Michael found it 2 weeks later. You didn't tell me she wrote to you, he said. I didn't know what to say. Do you want to respond? I thought about it. I don't know. He sat down next to me. What does your gut say? My gut says she's only reaching out because Grandpa cut her off. My gut says she wants access to Sofia because she's lonely. My gut says if I let her back in, she'll do it again. Do it again? Choose herself. Prioritize herself. Make me manage her feelings instead of the other way around. He nodded. So don't let her back in. Not yet. Not until she proves she's changed. How does she prove that? Time. Distance. Respect. If she really means it, she'll wait. She'll respect your boundary. She won't push. He was right. I wrote back. 1 paragraph. I read your letter. I appreciate the apology. But I'm not ready yet. When I am, I'll reach out. Until then, I need you to respect my space. No calls. No unannounced visits. No messages through Lauren. If you can do that, we'll talk when I'm ready. Rebecca. I mailed it the next day. She didn't respond. She didn't call. She didn't show up. For 6 months, I heard nothing. And that, more than anything, told me she might actually be trying. Present day. I'm 30 years old now. Sofia is 2.5. He's obsessed with dinosaurs and Daniel Tiger. She calls Michael Daddy. He calls Grandpa Pops. We live in a small house in North Richland Hills. 3 bedrooms. A backyard. A swing set that Michael built himself. Grandpa comes over every Sunday. We make pancakes. Sofia sits on his lap and tells him stories that don't make any sense. He loves every second of it. Last week, my mother sent a birthday card for Sofia. It had a dinosaur on it. Inside she'd written, "Happy birthday, Sofia. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Love, Grandma." No request to visit. No guilt trip. Just a card. I showed it to Michael. What do you think? I asked. I think she's trying. Is trying enough? That's up to you. I put the card on the fridge. I haven't called her yet. But I might. Someday. When I'm ready. Because here's what I learned. DNA doesn't make you family. Showing up makes you family. Loyalty makes you family. Choosing someone again and again even when it's inconvenient. That's what makes you family. My mother gave birth to me. But Grandpa raised me. Diane and Marianne helped me when I had no one. Grace took care of my daughter when my own family wouldn't. Michael chose me. Every single day. And I chose him back. That's family. My mother is learning that now. Learning that love isn't about biology. It's about action. It's about showing up when someone needs you, not just when it's convenient. He has a long way to go. But the door's not locked. It just has a lock now. And I'm the one who holds the key. If you've ever been the family emergency while being treated like the family inconvenience, drop a comment. You are not alone. We're all out here building better families, one choice at a time. Drop a comment below and let me know where you're listening from. And if you've ever had to set boundaries with a parent who didn't show up when you needed them most, type boundaries. You're not alone. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. The months after the wedding were the happiest I'd ever been. Michael moved into my apartment first. It was tiny, barely 800 square feet, but it was ours. He didn't complain about the lack of space or the fact that Sofia's crib was in our bedroom. He just smiled and said, "We'll make it work." And we did. He'd wake up with Sofia when she cried at night, even though he had early shifts at the hospital. He'd change her diaper, warm a bottle, rock her back to sleep. Then he'd kiss my forehead and whisper, "Go back to sleep. I've got her." I'd never had that before. I'd never had someone just show up. No complaints. No scorekeeping. No reminders of how much they were sacrificing. He just loved us. One Saturday morning, about 3 months after we got married, I woke up to the smell of coffee and pancakes. I walked into the kitchen and found Michael at the stove, Sofia in her high chair, both of them covered in flour. "We're making breakfast," Michael announced. Sofia slapped her hands on the tray. "Pancake." I laughed. "I can see that. She's an excellent sous chef," Michael said seriously. "She's in charge of quality control." He handed Sofia a tiny piece of pancake. She shoved it in her mouth and grinned. I sat down at our small table and watched them. This man who chose us. This man who didn't have to be here but was. My phone buzzed. A text from Lauren. "Mom keeps asking about you. She wants to know if you're okay." I stared at the message. Michael noticed. "Everything all right?" "Lauren says Mom keeps asking about me." "What do you want to do?" "Nothing. I want to do nothing." He nodded. "Then do nothing." I deleted the text. Grandpa's stroke happened on a Tuesday in March. I got the call at 2:47 p.m. I was at work. I'd gone back part-time as a medical billing coordinator at Harris Methodist, the same hospital where I'd been treated after the accident. Ironic maybe, but it felt right. The call was from Arlington Memorial. "Is this Rebecca Chin?" "Yes." "This is Dr. Patel. Your grandfather, Vincent Martinez, was brought in about an hour ago. He had a stroke. He's stable, but we'd like you to come in." I left work immediately. Michael met me at the hospital. He must have driven 90 miles an hour from his clinic. He walked into the waiting room, saw my face, and pulled me into his arms. "Is he okay?" Michael asked. "They said stable." "I don't know what that means." "It means he's alive. It means he's fighting." They let me see him an hour later. He was in a hospital bed, connected to monitors for in his arm. But his eyes were open. Alert. "Grandpa," I said. He smiled. Crooked because the left side of his face was weak. But still a smile. "Hey kiddo." I sat down next to him. Took his hand. "You scared me." "Scared myself," he said. His words were slightly slurred. "Woke up on the kitchen floor. Couldn't move my left side. Called 911. "You did good. Always do." I laughed. Cried. "The doctors say you're going to be okay. Physical therapy. Speech therapy. But you're going to be okay." He squeezed my hand with his good hand. "I'm tougher than I look." "I know." He looked at me for a long moment. "I need to tell you something. Grandpa, you need to rest." "No. I need to say this now." He took a breath. "I updated my will last month. You don't have to worry about that right now." "Yes, I do. Everything goes to you and Sofia. The house. The savings. The life insurance. There's a trust set up for Sofia's education. $150,000. She'll never have to worry about college." I couldn't speak. "You're a good mother, Rebecca. You're strong. You handle things. But you shouldn't have to handle everything alone." This is my way of making sure you're taken care of. You and Sofia and Michael. Michael's not even your blood. He's your husband. He's Sofia's father. That makes him my family. Blood doesn't mean anything if the person doesn't show up. He closed his eyes. Tired. Your mother called me yesterday. I froze. What did she say? She asked if we could talk. I said no. Grandpa, you don't have to. Yes, I do. I don't forgive people who hurt my family. You're my family. Sofia's my family. Michael's my family. Your mother made her choice. He opened his eyes again. Looked at me. I made mine. I stayed with him until visiting hours ended. Michael brought Sofia by the next day. She was scared at first, all the machines, the beeping, but then Grandpa smiled at her and said, "Hey, little dinosaur." She climbed into the hospital bed and snuggled against him. "Pop's sick." "Pops is getting better," he said. "Okay," she said. Then she fell asleep. Grandpa looked at me. "This is what matters. Right here." And he was right. Grandpa came home after a week. He had physical therapy 3 times a week. Speech therapy twice. Michael drove him to most of the appointments because I was working. I visited every Sunday. Brought breakfast. Helped him with exercises. Watched Sofia toddle around his house, pointing at everything and asking, "What's that? What's that?" Slowly he got better. The left side of his face regained movement. His words became clearer. He could walk with a cane. And every Sunday he'd sit in his armchair with Sofia on his lap and tell her stories about when I was little. "Your mama was stubborn," he'd say. "Just like you." Sofia would giggle. Michael would make coffee. And I'd sit there watching my family, my real family, and feel something I'd never felt before. Peace. The letter from my mother arrived on a Tuesday in September. I saw the envelope in the mailbox and almost threw it away. But something stopped me. Maybe curiosity. Maybe hope. I don't know. I opened it. 3 handwritten pages. Her handwriting. The same looping cursive she'd used to write grocery lists when I was a kid. I read it once. Then twice. Then a 3rd time. "Rebecca, I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I made the wrong choice. I replay that phone call every single day. I hear your voice asking for help and I hear myself saying no. I was selfish. I was angry about my own life, and I took it out on you by refusing to be inconvenienced. I told myself the cruise was important, that I deserved it, that you would be fine because you're always fine. But that's not love. That's not what a mother does. I see pictures of Sofia on Facebook. Lauren shows me sometimes. She's beautiful. She looks like you. I would like to meet her. Not as her grandmother. I know I haven't earned that. Just as someone who loves her mother and wants to do better. I'm not asking you to fix this. I know I have to fix it. I'm just asking for a chance. I love you." I put the letter down. Stared at it. Then I put it in a drawer and didn't look at it for 2 weeks. Michael found it while he was looking for a phone charger. "You didn't tell me she wrote to you," he said. I didn't know what to say. He sat down next to me on the couch. Sofia was asleep in her room. "Do you want to respond?" "I don't know. What does your gut say?" I thought about it. My gut says she's only reaching out because Grandpa cut her off. My gut says she wants access to Sofia because she's lonely, not because she's actually changed. My gut says if I let her back in, she'll do it again. Do what again? Choose herself. Make me manage her emotions instead of the other way around. Disappear when I need her. He nodded. "So what do you want to do?" "I want to respond. But I want to be clear." "Then be clear." I wrote the letter that night. 1 paragraph. Simple. Honest. I read your letter. I appreciate the apology. But I'm not ready yet. When I am, I'll reach out. Until then, I need you to respect my space. No calls. No unannounced visits. No messages through Lauren. If you can do that, we'll talk when I'm ready. Rebecca. I mailed it the next day. And then I waited. For 6 months, I heard nothing. No calls. No texts. No messages through Lauren. Just silence. And that silence told me more than any apology ever could. Told me she was finally listening. Sofia turned 2 in November. We had a party at our house. Michael invited his family, his parents, his sister, his nephew. I invited Grandpa, Diane, Marianne, and Grace. 20 people total. Our little house was packed. Sofia wore a dinosaur costume and ate chocolate cake with her hands. Grandpa sat in the corner watching everything with a smile. At one point, Michael's mom leaned over to me and said, "You have a beautiful family." I looked around the room. Michael's dad was helping Sofia open presents. Diane was laughing with Marianne. Grace was taking photos. Grandpa was talking to Michael's sister about city planning. "Yeah," I said. "I do." Later that night, after everyone had left and Sofia was asleep, I sat on the couch with Michael. "That was a good day," he said. "It was. You okay?" "Yeah. I'm okay." He kissed my temple. "You're more than okay. You're incredible." I leaned into him. "I didn't invite my mother." "I know. Do you think I should have?" "No. I think you made the right choice. She needs to prove she's changed. One letter doesn't do that." He was right. And I was okay with that. The birthday card arrived the following week. I saw it in the mailbox. A bright purple envelope with a dinosaur sticker on the front. I opened it. Inside was a card with a T-Rex on it. Inside, my mother had written, "Happy birthday, Sofia. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Love, Grandma." No request to visit. No guilt trip. No manipulation. Just a card. I showed it to Michael. "What do you think?" I asked. "I think she's trying." "Is trying enough?" "That's up to you." I put the card on the fridge. I didn't call her. But I didn't throw it away either. And that's where we are now. Sofia is 2.5. She loves dinosaurs and music in her pops. She calls Michael Daddy. She has no idea that the man who tucks her in every night isn't her biological father. And she doesn't need to know. Because Michael is her father in every way that matters. We bought a house in North Richland Hills 6 months ago. 3 bedrooms. A backyard. A swing set that Michael built with Grandpa's help. Every Sunday we have breakfast together. Pancakes. Coffee. Grandpa tells stories. Sofia laughs. This is my family. And I chose every single person in it. My mother? She's still out there. Still sending cards. Still respecting my boundary. Maybe someday I'll be ready to let her back in. Maybe I won't. But either way, I'm okay. Because I learned something that day in the hospital, the day my mother chose a cruise over me. Family isn't who you're born to. Family is who shows up. And the people in this house. They show up. Every single day. If you've ever had to build your own family from scratch, type chosen family in the comments. And if you're listening from somewhere else in the world, drop a comment and let me know where you're from. We're all connected by these stories. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Someone who's still waiting for their family to choose them. Tell them, you're allowed to choose yourself first. We're all out here building better lives, one boundary at a time.